Hello everyone and welcome to Kansas City Bitcoin Cryptocurrency. My guest, he goes by TM, which is his name in the Metaverse. Among other things, Upland is one of the games that he is in actively along with myself as Uplando. Of course, when we come into the Metaverse, we forgo our in real life names and we take on our personas. So again, Uplando and TM. There's the man on the screen. Welcome, sir, to the Kansas City Bitcoin Cryptocurrency podcast.
Hello, and thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited about the Metaverse, and when you think about the possibilities, it just blows your mind. You're like, where can this go? I mean, you can look at this thing at a base level, right? And you can be like, just a game on my phone.
Yeah.
No, do not look at it that way. I mean, it's kind of like looking at the internet and being like, wow, a screen with numbers. It's like, really? Is that how far the internet's going to go? So you have to look a little past that. And I'll tell you what, Uplando, since I joined, it's been a real adventure, and I think the collective creativity of the community is going to be just as effective as like a worldwide collaboration.
I know you had done some things in cryptocurrency, and we're going to get to that. Is that where you started, or you started about 2013 in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, around about there. I heard about it in 2011, and I was too stupid and narrow-minded to realize how big cryptocurrency is going to be. But the difference between being ignorant and stupid and being intelligent is learning from your mistakes and adapting, right? You're never going to get anything the first time. It took me 2 years. I wish I would have taken a chance and jumped on that bandwagon in 2011. I'd be 2 years ahead of where I am today, right? So the key is learning and adapting, and it's going to help you in every aspect of this kind of game, this kind of metaverse. And God knows I made plenty of mistakes. For example, if you go on Upland, you have something called a block explorer, right? My block explorer is a picture of someone that I got from a meme, says how to properly cut a bagel. And it shows a person sticking their finger through the bagel and cutting it in half. So it's kind of representative of the mistakes that I may have made in the beginning. But the fact is I may have lost a finger, but guess what? I'm really good at this now.
Yeah. No, that's very true you are. And that's funny that you say that, because I think that everybody that joins Upland, there's a little bit of a disconnect with the onboarding process of Upland, and you're very confused, which is very indicative of just cryptocurrency in general. So people are wondering right now, what does Upland have to do with all this, and why does it even matter? But really what we're talking about is these things are now blending together. They're making this transition from where you're right now, typically you would be on a console playing an Xbox or a PlayStation, and the difference on that is that you think that you're getting rewarded. When you actually complete a mission, you think you're getting rewarded. You're really not. You're rewarding the game developer. You don't actually own anything. That prize that you get from that mission, that's not yours. That's the game, and the game just gives you that as an incentive to carry on. But you don't get to take that with you in other games. You don't get to carry it around. You don't own it. What we're talking about is true ownership of digital assets. And that's where this gets really exciting. It's what steered me into this space. Number one, they go back and say, not your keys, not your crypto. This is kind of the same situation. We're talking about ownership of digital assets. And in the game Upland and other metaverses, Uplift, the NFT Hive, you are actually owning those otherwise non-fungible tokens or that digital asset in the game. So that's what excited me about it. And I think that's what you were, kind of alluding to in some of this is having that true ownership.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're playing a game, you're absolutely right. The game owns you until it becomes decentralized and there's some sort of NFT ecosystem behind it to where you actually own the game, right?
Yeah.
So it's a difference between EA Sports telling you what constraints you have on yourself as compared to you saying, I'm going to go ahead and expand these constraints and use my creativity to add to this. Now just imagine millions and millions of people using their creative consciousness to add to this game and other games. And when they start to connect, forget about it. The internet doesn't operate in a vacuum unless it's like a closed loop server, right?
Yeah.
But you talk about the World Wide Web and you're like, wow, all of a sudden everybody's communicating, collaborating, and humans move towards efficiency, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I had, within cryptocurrency, when I got started in it, it was really like pulling teeth to get information. All anyone would do was throw around acronyms. So there was a level that from when the beginner got into this, there was a disconnect and a very steep learning curve. So if you didn't get onto that and do everything that you possibly could to get up to that level, there was no dissemination of that information. nobody really wanted to help. It was a closed system almost like. Then we started to see more and more people participating and other people starting with that beginner's mind and starting to educate people and have an understanding of what this space really is, what blockchain, what cryptocurrency is, and what these decentralized applications are. And that segues into a little bit about what you do for, we call it in real life, but you want to speak to a little bit about what you do for the daily grind, the 9 to 5?
Yeah, sure, Orlando. Well, I'll go ahead and go a little bit back a little further. When I got into crypto in 2013, this stuff is addictive. These dark circles aren't from, you know, any kind of abuse or anything. It's because of crypto. Crypto is a drug. And the more you get addicted, the more it becomes an obsession. The more it becomes an obsession, the best you get at it. If you're not obsessed with something, you will not be one of the best at it. Okay? You have to have a certain level of obsessive compulsive disorder in order to be really successful at something. So cryptocurrency since 2013 has kind of developed that stay up till 4 a.m. reading stuff mindset, right? How often have you stayed up until 4 o'clock a.m. reading something you're not interested in?
Right.
And you just don't do it. And here's a tip for the new guys that are starting off in Upland. This is an adventure, right? Once you start getting a piece or two of the puzzle together, make a goal for yourself. Get 5 pieces of puzzle together. And if you can't make sense of where this is going, then sorry, it might not be for you. But if you keep on grinding and trying and finding different connections, finding community like the EUDU or, you know, Upland United or any of these YouTube channels that are constantly giving you hints, that's going to give you the upper hand. It's kind of like having a study group after school. Yeah, it's way more fun because you're hanging out with your friends, you talk about chicks or whatever. And in the meantime, you're also learning and you're sharing collaborations of different ways to learn and different ways to play the game, different game theory. So, yeah, I mean, there's a Discord. If you're not on Discord, you probably should. If you're not listening to this channel regularly, you probably should. I mean, if someone's been doing something a while, listen to what they have to say. You know, and as a matter of fact, as we go, maybe we can throw like a little a tip or trick for the new guys in every couple minutes, and then that'll definitely keep them.
100%. Everything that you're saying too, and I want to put this in parallel with other things that people become really successful at. Skateboarding. We all have that understanding of what that means, and if somebody says, I want to be a professional skateboarder, then typically the response to that is if you don't have a good support system, your peers, your mentor, your parents, they look at you and go, whoa, well, okay, yeah, that's great and all, but you know, you really should think about having the 9 to 5 stable job that you go to, and maybe not so much on the skateboarding. But we saw what exploded in those areas, and those skateboarders, those surfers, BMX bike, X Games, skiing, all those types of things have become an exploding, really both business and a sport, really is what it has gone into. So digital sports, not that any of those were, but now the digital sport aspect of it is coming. I'm going to be a professional gamer. Now that sounded ridiculous, whereas when, yeah, you know what I mean? Because you would say, you were like, okay, I'm going to become a professional skateboarder. Then people got acclimated to it, normalized to it, and they go, oh yeah, I heard that there's great money in that. You want to become and then back in the day, you want to do what? You want to play StarCraft professionally? No, you're not going to do that. So it segues into these, and I think that when we all started finding this in crypto, we naturally kind of go down those rabbit holes, to use a leftism. That is what you do, and then you find these communities and these people, and then you really enjoy it, and then you sink your teeth in.
Yeah, and I can even correlate that to when I started my business, right? I mean, I was a compliance officer for a cryptocurrency startup, and you know, that's a big clunky salary. You got to pay someone with my level of experience. And you know, I was talking to my parents, aunt and uncle, cousins. They're all like, "You should work for somebody. You should get a solid, secure job." And I'm like, "I've been doing that for like 25 years, and you know, I haven't made myself millions, right?"
Right.
So, it's kind of breaking down some of those old barrier level thinking, and kind of proceeding to the next level. You know, go ahead and take that shot. As well as it's a calculated shot, you're probably going to do better than if you are relying on somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, there's an old expression that says, once you've found a master, you cannot proceed beyond that master, right? So the goal is to have no master, to be your own master. And then the sky's the limit, because you don't have any limits on yourself.
That's a great way to think of it. What a great way to put it. And so people naturally gravitate. So do you work on word of mouth, or how do they find you, and what are the services that, if you can tell us a little bit about that, what you offer and what you encompass in your business?
Sure. I started off working with cryptocurrency ATMs, Bitcoin ATMs, and taking on clients and serving as their dedicated compliance officer. And I was able to build up a team. I pulled 3 people out of poverty already by offering them employment that are very intelligent people that needed proper guidance. And these individuals are extremely smart. Their IQs are actually higher than mine.
Wow. No, it's awesome.
And then they also had this OCD thing to where they became really, really good at it. So when you create opportunity for yourself, you create opportunity for others. Once you get to a certain level, you realize that the universe works in a certain way. If you don't give back and you don't create value for the world's going to take notice. If you do create value for the world, the universe is going to take notice of that too. And they'll give you as much as you're willing to take on. So what you have to do is switch over from what's considered a survivalist mindset to an abundance mindset. It's not any kind of theory or of like religion or anything like that. I'm not asking you to join my church. I don't really have one. Just some ideas that you can take from everything that I've seen in life and apply it. For example, like Upland. Oh, I just bought 2 or 3 properties. I don't know what to do. Well, how about trying to be a FSA player for as long as you can, buy up those FSA properties that are in collections and sell them to me. So as soon as you pull your first 100% profit, you become addictive because let's all admit it. We are interested in making money off of this. And if you're not, don't lie to me. Don't come to me and say you're all in it for the tech. Sure, I'm in it for the tech too, but if there was no profit incentive, I wouldn't be doing it, right?
Yeah, and the basis of Upland is buy, sell, trade real estate game in its description. But what it's become is outside of that game is the community that's involved with it. And what TM is referring to is in Discord, which is a gaming chat platform. Many of you may have belonged to it or still belong to it or interact like a Telegram, but a little bit more evolved. It is a place then where Upland has a server along with many others who have servers in that game. And we all communicate through that. We can do so via chat, via over the internet phone call. We can do it with live video streaming. And we all have this general chat that we belong to and other servers and channels that we belong to, but you find out how to play the game, what to do, and then what the side effect of that is that you start to meet people like you. When I first got into the game, actually my first interaction with the game was you and T. Davis. So I was trying to figure out what was going on, and T. Davis alluded to on the UPX podcast with Too Stupid to Win and Thank Me Later that I had purchased properties and I had become a pro by secondary properties only. I had never minted a property up to the point when I was pro. Now, in my defense, I did so because I was trying to capture those inaugural properties, those established 2019s, and some other properties that I could not mint. So, and mint is just buying the property from the game that offers them to you. And so an FSA is Fair Start Act. Fair Start Act is for players that have less than 100,000 net worth in the game. They are offered properties only through those FSA players that have that net worth of 100,000 and less to be able to purchase those, so that quote unquote the whales can't come in and just purchase everything out. It gives them a real fair shot getting into bonus multipliers for owning these properties, because you do have dividends that are paid to you or in-game currency that's paid to you for holding these properties. And like crypto, it never sleeps. This game just goes on and on and on, which is what I love about it. It's not your stock exchange banker hours where you start and stop. No, it's always going on. It's always there. And that's what I loved about this as well, is that that part of the game. What part of the game do you love about Upland? Like, what's 2 or 3 of your favorite things about it?
Well, probably when I got started, I loved minting the crap out of a certain area, because it kind of goes in with my plan. And when it comes to my plan, I keep on thinking of, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Lawless with, it's about moonshine running.
Oh, yes. Yes, I have.
When Forrest Booterant's now like, listen here, mister, we got no way of understanding this world. We got as much sense as that bird flying in the sky. Now, there's a whole lot that bird don't know, but the world's happening around him just the same. So I'm like thinking about that, and I'm like, yep, just like all these people aren't aware of crypto, they're not aware of NFTs, they're not aware of the fact the virtual world is freaking merging with the real world. And guess what? You want Bitcoin in 2010? This is NFTs in 2010, right? So now is the time to learn as much as you can. Tick, 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 there's a clock, right? How much are you going to learn before everybody else does? Like, are you going to stop learning and get comfortable? Hey, I made $500 in this game. Guess what? How about making $5,000 in this game? How about meeting a bunch of cool people who you can partner with and make the world a better place by creating strategic partnerships? Are you willing to do that? Are you interested in that? It's a lot better than sitting around a bunch of people that are just talking about it.
Or being negative about it. And one of the things you just keyed in on, I got to tell you, the charitable aspect of what cryptocurrency, people that are in the metaverse and in, the realm of NFTs and that whole industry, there's so much charitable action going on there. So Sturs Merlin, who's a player in Upland as well, he did an F Cancer event, and it was brilliant. It was beautiful because so many people came together and gave to that cause, and that continues on. When really people talk about being charitable, it's one thing, the actions are another. And so we are all involved in this. We find people that are like-minded, and we gravitate to those players, and then we start to make actual business happen and friendships happen in the game. And I want to point out that TM as a player was an early adopter to this game and getting into it, and has done things that has been a first in many, many things, including, were you on the race to the 1,000 ownership of properties? Do you know who actually did that? Was that you?
No, I know I'm up to like 7,600 properties now, but I definitely started to catch up, and thank me later, he's got knocked off his high horse a little bit because he was always like, I'm number one, and I'm like, coming for you. But it's positive because guess what? We're all contributing to the increased scarcity of certain properties in certain areas. We're all working towards our goals, and at the end of the day, guess what? If you're not shaking hands and making partnerships, you might as well cash in your chips, because that's how the world.
I do want to point this out. So TM is currently the largest single property in terms of numbers of property holders in the game. I think you're at 7,800 or more right now. Let's take a look. Go to the boards. And also, you've held in the top 10 for quite a long time. I don't think you've ever dipped out of the top 10 once you entered it. So you've been there for quite a while.
7,954 properties.
7,954 properties. Understand something, when you get into this game, they give you a portion of UPX, which is the in-game currency. You can buy 2 or 3 properties. To really acquire that many properties in the way that TM has done it, I don't know. We are seeing some of that where neighborhood acquisition happens, where one player will own an entire swath of a neighborhood. 100% ownership is extremely difficult, but in what TM has done and exhibited is going through and really acquiring large amounts of single individual properties in a big area of a district or a city, and it's really impressive. And when I had entered the game, and like I said, when you and T. Davis started helping me, it was so fast. I never thought I would catch up to the speed at which you guys were talking about not only the acronyms in the game, but what you were doing to trade properties. Hey, I'm going to give you 2 over here in Fresno, in this area, and I'll swap you 2 for over here in New York in this property. And oh, hey, wait, what about Calwall and some of these areas and Sugar Hill? And it all was going so fast, I had to take a step back and just watch. But you were so gracious in helping me and letting me understand the mechanics of the game so that I could, better my gameplay. And you did so without having a second thought of, oh, this person's going to come after me. It's not like that. It's always game on. That's the part that I love about this. We help each other, but we're also still playing the game.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes into the fact that, without the network effect, nothing works. If I didn't have strategic business partners and other people that know that I do a good job at what I do, I would have to advertise.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm at a point that I can't advertise because I got people knocking on my door right now, and it's a good problem to have. But it also creates opportunity for others and building out that network. Almost like this game and Our Planet and Uplift and all these other things. They're not really competing; they're sharing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For example, how about cross-marketing Our Planet to Uplift and Uplift cross-marketing to Upland, and then all of a sudden everybody's interested in the same thing anyways, so you have this huge everybody's advertising collectively and bringing in all the best of the best. And what you were saying earlier about you didn't know what was going on and you had a couple people help you, everybody that hasn't really signed up for Upland yet, if you sign up today and you log in, I guarantee you, if you put your best foot forward, within 60 days, you'll be the one giving advice. and you'll be building your own networks. And then, you know, you'll reach out to me and handshake and say, hey, I want to participate in Visitation Valley. That's the first area I'm building up. It's the biggest area that I own probably about 75% of. And I have a goal for that called the VV Vision, Visitation Valley. It's in the southern area of San Francisco. I
know
have
it.
7 other properties that are going to be other hubs for what I'm trying to do. But I am going to have sponsorships of driven business individuals who want to develop land.
I mean, new cities are coming online. It's happening at an exponential rate, and it's really amazing at what's going on. I want to shift gears and ask you some cryptocurrency questions because right now what we've done and what we've seen, I mean, we were at 60, wow, all-time high was 62, 63 for Bitcoin, and now we're back dipped down at, you know, a 20,000 per coin difference right now. So yeah, I know that's everybody was like, oh, this is fantastic. We're in crypto because we need to see the dips. We need to see this thing happen. Tell us some tips. Tell us some things about cryptocurrency, what you're seeing currently in the marketplace, where we're at today.
Yeah, well, again, I have no crystal ball, definitely, but we're starting to see institutional players getting in. We're starting to see a lot of the same things are repeating. Like China's banning Bitcoin. Really? They banned it 15 times. And every single time, it seems to be an excuse for the market to go down.
Yeah.
So whether it's the paper shorts killing off the Bitcoin futures or whatever they're doing behind the scenes, they're trying to give excuses to get the price low.
Yeah.
Elon Musk saying he's halting Bitcoin because it's not energy. You know how much it takes to make one of his darn batteries? Come on. I mean, I still want the Cybertruck, but it's silly for saying that. So you know how much the banks take up in electricity? Double what Bitcoin does. Okay? So get rid of the banks.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin, all of a sudden, we're 50% more energy efficient. What's he even talking about? He's too smart to say that. He's saying it for a reason. The reason he said that is because he's applying for a carbon exchange with the Environmental Protection Agency. And they really want to push for a green Bitcoin. So what's he going to do? Kiss a little bit of butt, right? And then once he does that, he's going to go ahead and get his license, and then he's going to go ahead and switch it back around to where he's accepting Bitcoin. Or maybe a proof of stake coin that doesn't require so much energy output. That's my conspiracy theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, hey, it's a good theory, and I think that there are absolutely, when you're that big in business, you do have to grease a few palms, as it were, or make some people a little bit, you got to give up some things to get a few things, and that's in business in general. But people do want to really come down hard on the energy consumption of what's going on with NFTs, with cryptocurrencies. But I will say this, that these same entities that are producing these digital assets are the same ones who are dumping a bunch of money into research and development to be able to go with some type of green energy solution so that we're not using terrestrial energy. We're using something otherwise it would be a solar power or something of that nature to really power all this. And we're always looking for new solutions and new ways to do things. Yeah, that's a big part of it. In the current, what we're seeing in this dip right now and where we're going, is there any cryptocurrency projects out there, some altcoins that you see that you might, again, this is not financial advice, this is just speculation and opinion that we're giving right now, but what do you see? What's out there? Tell us the next big thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you say this is what I'm doing, people can either decide to do it or think you're an idiot. It's not financial advice at all. So
right.
I kind of do the tell you a story, and therefore I'm not a financial advisor, NFA. So I always look for things that are solving real world solutions, real world problems, right? Humans have always moved towards efficiency. I've never seen anybody say, you know what, I'm going to scrap my email address and go back to sending postcards. No, right? It's stupid. So people always move towards efficiency to make their lives easier. No, I'm not going to, take the bus. I'm going to take the pogo stick. No, that's stupid. So people always move towards doing the right thing for themselves. People are incentivized by making their lives easier and more enjoyable. So let's look. Right now, what's the problem that Congress is talking about? Well, one of the problems is bandwidth, right? There's a problem with bandwidth. You have Netflix. There was a guy that did a study, I think he's out of Australia, I can't remember where, but he did a study on how efficient Netflix is on providing bandwidth storage for its servers, right? It's very expensive. every streaming service, every company has this little problem that they're going to have to address. Amazon has that problem. Samsung has that problem. Sony has that problem, right? So recently, not recently, a couple years ago, I poked around and I found this project called THETA. THETA is some of the people on their advisory board is the co-founder of YouTube, the co-founder of Twitch, pretty big names. And then I looked at their partnerships. Well, it turns out that earlier this year they partnered with Sony Europe. They're running a enterprise node for THETA. That's millions and millions of dollars, right? So they've decided to validate transactions on the THETA blockchain for no good reason, right? Big corporations just throw money away and not really think about why. They don't have stockholders to answer to or anything like that, right? Actually, they can be sued if they do the wrong thing. So Sony Europe has decided to run an enterprise masternode for THETA. Oh, and before that, Samsung did too. Oh, and before that, Google did too. Are they running a Bitcoin node or Ethereum? Nope, they're running a THETA node. Why would they do that? Okay, THETA's $10. There's only I think 1 billion tokens out there right now, which is low. What kind of network effect would you have if you were able to provide decentralized bandwidth sharing? Well, how do you do that? Well, maybe one of the first things you would do is go to the U.S. Patent Office and patent that technology. Done. They did it. You can look into it. They also have one for micropayments through decentralized platform sharing. So you can get paid while you're sleeping and sharing your bandwidth securely through a decentralized blockchain. Ooh, okay. I fell asleep. Oh, all of a sudden I can pay for half my internet bill by sharing on here. Oh, and I can make a THETA token, which will go up. So solving a real world solution when Netflix or any big guy announces the price is just going to. So there's no way I'm selling until it hits at least $100.
That's a great project. I know we all know, most of us in Kansas City Bitcoin cryptocurrency know THETA very well, and it's a really interesting project, amazing stuff. Yeah, that's a good one. What's that?
They're partnering with NASA. They partnered with Lionsgate's film earlier, so they're going to use them. They partner with MGM Classic. Just a number of partnerships that they're getting, and the price reflection. I'm surprised this thing isn't worth $100 or $150 already.
Yeah.
A lot of these are guesses, but this is already partnerships, already patents, already moving in the right direction. There's a second one I want to talk about.
Please.
There's a lot of projects I like, but I would say there's a project I found out about called Persistence.1. Their ticker symbol is XPRT. They're hard to get. They're only on Gate.io. And they are doing a Comdex, which is a decentralized exchange for commodities, and they're using NFTs to create invoicing for invoice financing for trade finance.
Wow.
Okay, so instead of waiting around, pushing a piece of paper over a desk, mailing stuff. People still mail stuff? Really? Okay.
Yep.
How about a decentralized blockchain on Tendermint, which is one of the most solid constructed blockchain projects. That's going to take probably a couple percentage points off your bottom line. So trade finance companies, oh, guess what? You're waiting 3 months to get your sofa from Value City. Why don't we speed that up by like 3 weeks? Okay, and then why don't we speed it up by 3 more once they implement the full XPRT product? So trade finance is a huge deal. I think back in November when he was talking to box mining, they were already doing 50 million a month. All they need is 200 million not to have to inflate their token. They can already subsidize token holders and stakers and validators simply with the projection that they're going with right now.
Amazing.
They also have NFT projects. They also have P-Stake coming up in the next couple weeks. So as these things roll out, the price appreciation is going to be limitless. And currently the circulating supply is 17.5 million tokens with an overall cap of 104.
Wow.
So there's not many tokens.
Yeah.
They're currently rated $13 or $14. I am raking those tokens that I talked about, maybe a little Digibyte, but those are my sweetheart deals right now.
So that's a real reward actually to stake it. And can you do that so it's only available at Gate.io? Do you stake it at Gate.io or do you hold it in a wallet?
You pull it up Gate.io and you go ahead and go through Cosmos Station through your ledger, and you go ahead and stake it on Cosmos Station. Or if you're more daring, then go ahead and use a key store file on Persistence One's web wallet.
Awesome. Okay, that's interesting. That's invaluable information. People just, and again, to even know that, to even just have that information to explain that is priceless. So really appreciate that.
You
Man,
guys are mentors. Go ahead and participate in Visitation Valley.
yeah, that's right. So for those of you who are getting into Upland, yes, you do own some amazing areas, district areas over there. We're going to have to do a part 2 of this. We're going to catch back up with you in about a month's time and see how things have progressed along. We'll check in on the 2 projects that you talked about, THETA, and then what was the other one?
Persistence is XPRT.
Yeah, we'll check in on those and we'll see how well that's done. See how much more you've gobbled up on those areas.
It's a 2-year hold.
2-year hold. Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough. Anything that you want to leave us with? Last words, something that part of wisdom for anything, any of the Metaverses, Upland, NFTs. What do you got?
Don't hear about this today and have regrets tomorrow. Immediately get involved. I don't want anybody saying, because I've heard other people say this that I've talked to, man, I wish I would have gotten this before. Man, I wish I would have gotten to our planet when you did. Man, I wish I would have gotten to this then. Just do it now. And then the only regret you'll have is you didn't try harder. And then you use that as an incentive to make yourself try harder the next time. It'll be fine. As long as you just start. So the hardest thing about it is getting the car started. Once the car's started, you roll.
That's great.
That's it.
Great wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been TM coming in from the Metaverse and in real life, sharing some knowledge with us. I greatly appreciate it, man. I can't wait to see these projects kind of come to fruition. All the plans that you've had in Upland and other Metaverses that you're a part of. It's really cool. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here, and wish you luck in the future. We'll check in about 30 days' time.
Thank you, Orlando.
Thanks.